Thanks for joining us again. Back on deck, a full moon feature, Jared. Finally.
My goal is complete to finally, beat you into submission until we're covering a full moon film.
Well, we are. Look,
I believe at the time it was Empire Pictures or something like that.
Yeah, it was Empire, but it did come up with full moon at the start as well, so it must be a sort of a...
Well, Empire was Charlie Band before Full Moon, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, first things first, I'm just going to say there's probably some sound problems, as is usual for us, our professionalism. We turned up and found that one of the fucking microphone we were going to use seems to have been... I don't know, the gremlin's got at it, Jared, and it's now absolutely rooted.
Yeah.
So...
I mean, can I just say that you advised me that, the USB seems to be a little tight, and I looked at it in the fucking socket. Had been jammed that far into the microphone. She was fucking tight,
all right, fuck. Well, look, I'm not fucking Steve Jobs.
I'm not saying you did it, but I thought maybe you might have noticed.
No, I wasn't looking that hard. Look, that microphone's given us 6 years of service.
Yeah, it's done.
So I'm pretty fucking happy with that. So, unfortunately, you're just going to have to listen to us ramble on through the microphone of the laptop.
If you happen to be listening, you can send us a free microphone.
No,
accept it with open arms.
We're set for Mike. All right, tonight's feature, full moon feature, Jared. You finally got us in there.
Yep.
Trancers, 1984.
Yep.
Before we get to that, though, jam-packed start. We've got what we've been watching. We've got an up or down, and we've got a bit of news. So, what have you been watching?
What have I been watching? Okay, so it's mostly been shows. I knocked over the first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Quite enjoyable so far.
Okay.
Ewan McGregor, just perfect for that role. It was one of the really good things to come out of the prequels, and there wasn't a whole lot. So yeah, so far so good. Stranger Things, season 4.
You watched it? In full?
I've worked through 4 episodes.
Is it good?
She is quite lengthy. There is the episodes are basically, some of them are feature length, 80 minutes. So the episode length is between 60 and 80 plus minutes.
Shit.
Yeah, look, I just like the show, and I like the fact that, especially this season, they're obviously taking cues from stuff like Elm Street. I mean, you don't just go and get Robin Englund and in this type of series and not kind of then go and show us that, hey, we're fans of this sort of stuff and it fits with what we do, so here's a little bit of that kind of vibe.
Fan service and stuff like that.
Yeah, so look, I just enjoy that stuff. I am not, at this point, I'm not feeling like there's huge drop-offs. If you liked season 3, then I think you would like this.
Okay. And
there's a little more of, what's his name? The bloke with the beard? Oh, shit, I've forgotten his name. But the actor's Brett Gelman. There's a little more of him, and he's doing the job for me. Quite amusing. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy with that so far. Outside of that, the films, there wasn't a whole lot. Obviously, because Stranger Things is taking up a lot of that time. I didn't get to a whole lot of films, but what I did get to, Adam. No, you've already had a fucking chuckle at me for it, but I started watching Tammy and the T-Rex on Shudder. So,
I think you may have hit an all-time.
No, look, as I said, I'm easily led. If it's on Joe Bob Briggs, I'll fucking watch it.
Okay. Look, I will cut you some slack because it's a Joe Bob commentary.
It's one that's been on the Just Joe Bob stuff for ages, but you could not fucking... You couldn't stream the thing anywhere, and then all of a sudden Shudder chucked it on. So immediately I fucking dived in head first. Yeah, it's a strange picture. I'll give you that much. But so it came about by this bloke that happened to have a fucking animatronic dinosaur for a couple of fucking weeks while it was being transported. And funnily enough, his name turned up in Charlie Band's autobiography. So he's obviously a doyen of the cheap film game, and he's I believe he had an animatronic dinosaur that he had for a couple of weeks while it was being transported elsewhere, and said, I've got $1 million. You reckon we could fucking make a picture while we've got it? And so it seems like the guy that he got in touch with said, yeah, we can do it. Knocked up a script in 6 days. Filmed the thing in 2 weeks.
Jesus. Come on.
But then what happened to it was the guy that fucking put up the cash was thinking he was getting like a kind of Disney type product. But then they'd fucking squeezed in all this gore and stuff, so he cut all that shit out and then tried to release it like that. But then, I think it was only a couple of years ago, Vinegar Syndrome or something like that came across the gore
and added it
back and put the movie back out. But they fucking stumbled across. So it was made in '94, right?
Yeah.
They stumbled across in the casting process. Tammy is Denise Richards.
Yeah.
Paul Walker is the boyfriend. Terry Kisser is the fucking mad doctor. And his assistant is Isaac.
Bernie.
His assistant is Isaac from Children of the Corn, the little guy.
Jesus.
And then you got these people in cameos like fucking Pedro from Napoleon Dynamite, and then Poppy Montgomery shows up at a party.
God.
And then, I don't know if you know Sean Whalen. He's one of those guys where you look at him, you see him, and you're like, oh, that guy. And sometimes you can't even place what he's from, but you're like, I've seen him fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
And then one of the other guys, Joe Bob informs us, was the lover of, who was having a fucking steamy affair with the partner of one of the richest blokes in Hollywood and ended up in prison on fucking fraud charges and all this sort of shit. So, I mean, the backstory is almost as interesting as the movie, to be honest.
Perfect.
Sounds great. The movie is kind of hilarious because it does have this kind of fucking Disney vibe, but then they're doing shit like cutting Paul Walker's fucking head open to take his brain out. All this, like, it's fucking crazy.
Strange stuff.
Yeah, but when you get the Joe Bob wraparound, almost anything can be entertaining. So
yeah, well, that's true. Yep. I agree with that. So that's everything from you?
That's everything.
All right, okay. I finally went on to Shudder after 6 months of boycotting it.
And didn't watch Tammy and the T-Rex.
No, I didn't watch Tammy and the T-Rex. I watched 1980's Alligator.
Yeah.
I was fucking loving the fact that was there. Mate, I love that shit.
Yeah.
It's great. It's a Jaws clone, but it's a good, fun time. Talk about fucking animatronic animals that don't look real. Jesus Christ. That alligator does not look real at all.
Oh, well, the funniest thing about Tammy and the T-Rex is you get these shots of the animatronic dinosaur, which obviously doesn't walk.
Yeah.
And then it cuts away to a shot of what's obviously someone with fucking rubber feet on. It's just classic material, really.
Classic low-budget filmmaking, Jared.
Yeah.
So I watched Alligator, loved it. Now, put the wife through sudden death because it hit Netflix.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I love sudden death.
Yeah.
Silly as a wheel.
Yeah.
But it's good fun. And the reason why I bring up sudden death, it's interesting that I watched sudden death because I watched the new Netflix action film Interceptor.
Right.
Which is written and directed by one of my favourite authors, Australian author Matthew Riley.
Mm-hmm.
And also Stuart Beattie, who wrote fucking Pirates of the Caribbean and Collateral. So I thought, shit, this will be all right. I believe it's executive produced by Chris Hemsworth as well.
Mm.
Obviously, his wife is the star. It's not good.
Okay.
It's not good, but I read a review saying it's the worst thing Netflix have put out, and I was like, I fucking disagree greatly. The fact that you would think Red Notice and Six Underground, I would watch Interceptor 10 times than I'd watch those two turds ever again, and they cost $200 million.
Yep.
Interceptor's problem is that it's perfectly at home in the 90s. The plot and everything would have been perfect for the 90s. That silly shit that, action films were built on back then.
Mm.
I mean, fuck, if it was made in 95, it would have been $100 million budget directed by fucking John Woo or something.
Yeah.
But
Johnny McTiernan or something like that. Yeah.
The problem with it is that the acting's not great, for starters. I think Hemsworth's wife, whilst not the greatest actress, is actually fucking game as far as physically goes. She's very game, and she looks, like she could do it.
Well, I guess when you're eating chicken sandwiches at 3 a.m, you
well, fuck, mate, she's been waking up to the sounds of fucking Hemsworth's alarm going off for about 10 years, so no wonder she's built. She's
like,
fucking built.
Well join you.
Put on some fucking beef, and she's right up to the task physically. Not the greatest actress in the world, certainly not the worst. The acting's not great. The plot is silly. But where it really struggles is that Matthew Riley's not a director.
Look.
And he does not know how to shoot the fights. And if you're going to do... It's low budget, really.
Yeah.
And it's in one location. So you've got to mix it up. You know, you've got to make those action scenes pop. And they don't.
Yeah, right.
And I look at something like John Wick, the original John Wick. It's a lower budget action film. It's an interesting plot, but nothing special.
Yeah.
But it lives and dies by its action sequences.
So
and
where does Riley rank on the Stephen King scale of authors directing?
Oh, look, it's not like he was fucking coked to the eyeballs or anything.
Yeah. Is he this ATM called me an asshole, or is he like meaty or shit kind of?
He's in between. He's not meaty or shit. But the problem is, mate, hire a director who can do this. Hire a journeyman. Like, remember the 80s, Jack? You remember the 80s well. I certainly do. If you couldn't hire John McTiernan, Richard Donner, James Cameron, you hired Craig Baxley or Mark Lester.
Right. Who, although not,
not proficient at getting much else out.
Not proficient. Well, I was going to say quite the opposite. Although not directors, had fucking lengthy experience in the field, and probably knew how to do some of that before they got given directing gigs.
Correct.
Now, Matthew Riley, as you said, like, not trying to take shots at the bloke, but you don't just go from writing books to directing it.
Correct. And it shows that the action sequences are directed with they're so lackluster. Like, you put your money into a stunt team and choreographers who can give you that.
Yeah. And
then you deliver that. I mean, there's a reason why something like Mad Max Fury Road is so good, is that every action scene is different and shot almost differently. Riley's just not there. Maybe it was the money. Maybe the money wasn't there. But essentially you need to really sell that shit. And he doesn't, unfortunately. Right. So, to me, you needed a journeyman, a Baxley, a fucking Lester. I remember, I must admit, I always laugh at, because we were Craig Baxley tragics. We've been Craig Baxley fans for years. And I remember watching the Predator, behind-the-scenes Predator stuff.
Yeah.
And John McTiernan's talking about how he didn't shoot the attack on the guerrilla compound. That was directed second unit. By Craig Baxley, and he's like, I fucking hate that scene. he's not happy with what Baxley pulled out.
Don't do that to me, man. I mean, fuck. He did his best.
But yeah,
and
look,
blew everything up.
Yeah. Oh, he definitely blew everything up. Interceptor is by far not the worst thing that Netflix have put out. I can tell you right now.
Mm.
It has some moments that were quite good. Very poor villain too. Young Australian actor by the name of Luke Bracey.
Yeah.
Yeah, just no.
Right.
Too smarmy for that shit. I need a cold. Just give me a nice cold classic sort of Eastern European.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. That's what you need in these pictures.
I say in all seriousness, she's never topped fucking Beyond Reanimator for mine. So let's just move on. Stop trying, Elsa.
Yeah. Look,
any movie that contains a reanimated penis is just hard to beat.
Does it? Fucking hell, I'm gonna have another look at that. Yeah, is that on Tubi? I think it's on Tubi.
I've got the.
You got the box. You got a box set, have you? Okay, and the last one, the big ticket item, Top Gun Maverick.
Mm. Now you're going to have to, give us
I'm going to hold my dick a little bit, not everything.
Because we are going to cover.
5 years ago, me, you and Gibbo said, what the fuck? Why would you do another Top Gun?
Who wants this shit?
Exactly. Who wants this shit? And I believe we said Tom Cruise was a sped force. Honestly, we know fucking nothing.
We're known for our on-the-point kind of commentary on cinema.
I'm going to say this. The decision to hold off on releasing Top Gun in 2020, I think it was the initial time, was a fucking masterstroke because you have to see it on the big screen. look, it's popcorn thrills. As far as the plot goes, there is nothing that is going to blow your mind. And people were tugging themselves about the best movie of the year. I think they might be well and truly wrong there. But it's entertainment plus, and the fucking flight sequences are just unbelievable. Like, all those actors are taking the fucking G-force. Like, they do it all in the cockpit. And that really gives it that weight, about how realistic it is.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this, and I never thought I would, about a Top Gun movie. But there is genuinely a sequence between Maverick and Iceman, which is fucking really, really well done. And a really awesome way to bring Iceman into it.
Reanimated your dead cold fucking heart. Again, happens occasionally.
And, say what you want about Cruise as a bloke, but his performance it's nuanced.
Well,
it's
as
layered.
I've said to you a couple of times, the word all around is that he's a great bloke.
Yeah.
But as I said to you,
if he traps me in my trailer,
when Tom says, "Do you want to come to lunch?" and I say, "Oh yeah, your shout," and he goes, "Yeah, yeah," and then I see him reaching into his little bag with a couple of pamphlets in his hand. I say, "Oh, sorry."
I go like this immediately. Fucking stop right there, mate. We are not talking about religion, buddy.
Yeah.
No, but the fact of the matter is, the guy can act, and he's always been a bloke who knows how to make a good picture.
Yeah.
Always.
Well, not always.
Not always. Fuck, I'll talk about the Mummy.
The last 10 years.
He
has had the Mission
Impossibles have always
the things
delivered.
Around that have always.
So he's had a bit of shit around that.
Had some trouble.
But something like Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Fucking excellent.
Awesome.
Things like Oblivion and Jack Reacher and that didn't quite hit the mark.
Yep.
The Mummy certainly didn't hit the mark. Collateral's a gem.
So he's had some good things around it.
But definitely go to the cinema. It's going to fucking rake in big dollars. Like, had a massive opening weekend. His biggest ever.
I think second week was 86 mil.
Yeah.
Tacked onto the top.
But it had nothing in its wake that weekend, which was great. No. It was able to sort of... But it really delivers, and I think it's definitely
I think the second week numbers, I think the drop-off was about 30%.
Dropped off 6% in Australia.
Yeah, well, but that's what they said, like, in the States.
We're falling over ourselves.
Even 30% is still really good word-of-mouth kind of numbers.
Yeah.
That people saw it and said, go check it out.
Yeah. Definitely worth your time.
Whilst he's waving pamphlets on corners.
No, he said, let's have lunch. And when he went to fucking Scientology fucking headquarters, I went, oh, shit. Can't we just go down the road to a fucking Jack in the Box, mate?
I'm not getting out of here.
Now, let's segue into our up or down. Before Maverick, they had a teaser trailer for the new Mission Impossible film, Dead Reckoning, Part 1. Not much to show in it about what it's about, but looks pretty fucking good to me. And 5 years ago, I told you I had no time for the bloke and there was no way I was going to watch any of his movies. Now that I've seen Maverick, I think I'll be rocking up. I'm going to put some money on him.
Well, I mean, once you fucking open yourself up to being hypocritical, you may as well just fucking continue forging on that path. Like,
it's like that classic thing of I've jumped off the bandwagon and then the wagon came past me.
Yeah.
Immediately got back on it.
Yeah, the wagon came past, your fucking shoes are worn through. You could not wait to fucking jump straight.
I fucking flagged him down.
Yeah. And then when you had the opportunity to get off again, you thought, no, hang on.
I'll stay on.
I heard about the next destination, and I thought that sounds pretty good too, so I might just hang on.
So this is obviously a two-parter. I'm assuming this is the end of it? This is where they're going to end it?
Possibly. Yeah, possibly. Might be what's going to happen.
Yeah. So what's your take?
Well,
because you went back to the series and fucking dodged yourself off.
I dropped it like it was hot for however many years. Yeah. And then, the last ones were awesome. Especially the very last one was fucking cool. So
number 2 is the worst.
I mean, number 2 is the worst. I remember thinking that was really good, but then watching it this time, I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, we've left this behind, haven't we? This
John Woo fucking got blind or something. That one was, Jesus Christ. I mean, that one fucking sucks. I remember it not being particularly great on it when it came out. So in the cinema, of course. But
yeah. Yeah. But you had Movie Max at the time, so you weren't
did.
that upset.
$25, $8 tickets.
Yeah, I think...
3 film.
I mean, it doesn't show much other than some familiar faces, about 18 different fucking set pieces, 14 different car chases, which is what you expect.
Tommy C fucking jumping off something he shouldn't be doing.
Well, of course, at the end, he flies off the motorbike and then parachutes, and I thought to myself, I bet this silly bastard did that for real. He said, I'm only doing this if I'm allowed to actually do it for real. And the producers fucking gulped and said, okay.
You know, Jared, in fucking Top Gun Maverick, he hopped into the cockpit. And fucking Jerry Bruckheimer was going, what the fuck are you doing?
I bet there was probably some fucking outtakes where he was climbing out of the cockpit whilst it was on fucking autopilot and hanging off the plane or something. No. People were just like, Jesus, Tom.
Yeah, it starts taxiing. They go, the pilots go, fuck. I haven't even got there yet. Oh, Tom's just taking it out for a bit of a run.
Yeah. I mean, you're watching that and you're saying that's exactly what we've been getting. The good thing about the last couple of movies was the story was there to match it. So hopefully it's there. If not, well, fuck, we'll get some breathtaking sequences and Tom being a silly bastard.
Yeah. So I believe it's still directed by the same fella, Christopher McQuarrie. Mm-hmm. He's done most of the other last 2 or 3 at least. So yeah, I'm definitely in. I'm big up on that one.
Yeah, I'll be. I'm up at the moment.
I need to get back to I need to look back on the series.
Yeah, well, I do too. I mean, that's when you squeeze out good films for full moon features out of your brains.
Yeah, exactly.
Space, you've got to go back
with the fucking shit.
You've got to go back and refresh. So I'm going to do the same thing.
Okay, last bit, little bit of news, Scream news. It's been confirmed by Neve Campbell herself that she will not be back for Scream 6, which, no surprise in my book. I think that's where we sort of were at the end of it.
I guess the surprising element is it sounds like she was lowball.
You reckon?
Well, that's the statement made it sound like she mentioned kind of, placing a value on herself that she couldn't compromise, basically. So it sounds. So
you both came with a low offer, and I said, "Fuck you." Is that basically what it is?
I think so. I think it sounds like that. Or the other suggestion is perhaps they were going to kill her off, which I also don't feel like is the right move.
No.
So
and look, if it is that they lowballed her, they shouldn't have. But the fact is, I think that the Scream kind of put them in a position where Sydney's no longer required.
Well, this is the thing. I had mixed feelings because
I don't want to see her killed off like Dewey was.
No, I don't want to see her killed off. I had mixed feelings in the sense that obviously this is one of my favourite film series. Has been very important to me for some stretch of time, so it closes a chapter that. But the other part of it is that's kind of where it probably should have. We all spoke about the last one and what we felt going forward was the play, and it just felt like it closed the book last time.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like there needed to be more story told or added to that for Sydney, so I'm not really sad. I'm not upset about it. I'm kind of like, okay, well, we've hit this point. And
she's obviously unhappy because someone said, we'll give you scale. She said, what the fuck?
It reminds me of
scale.
In my head, when I saw that statement, it reminds me of, those old sports management games. And I remember you and I had a rugby league one, and having had the background in the NBA ones, you could always lowball and then kind of lift your offer. And I remember getting a rugby league one and thinking, right, I'm going to lowball a star player here on my team. And I
400k.
Yeah, immediately the first response was, I never want to speak to you again. Oh, shit, okay.
So, hang on, come back to the table. That was just the initial offer, mate.
Yeah. Jesus. That's what I was expecting. We can work on this. He
backed off to another club.
That was it. He signed with someone else the next day. So that's what it sounds like.
So Neve Campbell, if you're looking for a new agent, we are not in the business because I would have probably lowballed anyway. It feels like, okay, maybe she got a shit off.
I wasn't upset. The only kind of sadness came around that it was like, okay, we kind of felt like this was where it was going. This just confirmed it. So I'm like, okay, well, we probably won't get another Scream film with Neve Campbell in it, which is a little, there's a tinge of sadness, but as I said, I'd already kind of come to the point after Scream 5 thinking, well, that's the story wrapped up, and I'm really happy with the way that it wrapped up.
Yeah, agreed.
I can't be upset with that, and if she wants to move on, fucking more power to her. If they're going to lowball you, then fucking give them the finger and walk out.
Yeah, my oath. You fucking carried the series.
Exactly.
I think you look, you know what? It would have been, it's fair for her to say, I deserve a big payday.
Yeah.
Because these films have been very successful.
I don't even know if that's the case.
We don't know whether she asked for it, but the fact is that those films have been extremely successful and made a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I suggest her price tag wouldn't have been that high. And anyone in her position who's been the sort of the stalwart of that franchise should be saying, I deserve a chunk of change.
Yeah. I mean, it's only film number 6, and how much cash have you made off this fucking series?
And the last one was extremely successful.
That's right.
So you've got to be saying...
And I mean, the last one, you didn't have Wes Craven.
No.
So if you didn't have Nev Campbell for that one, you were fucking starting from well behind the 8 ball.
Correct. So
she came back. The film was a hit.
Yeah.
Okay, obviously there's a lot of people contributing to that, but without her, it probably doesn't happen.
Correct. So if it is a low ball situation, well, I fucking have nothing but respect for that, because don't if you feel that you're not getting what you're worth, which I don't think, if it is a low ball situation, then you weren't getting what you were worth, and I think it's only fair.
Yep.
You can guarantee that Jamie Lee Curtis gets a slice. A big slice of Halloween.
Production,
yes.
Now, she gets
credit. She gets very well paid to come back and do Laurie Strode. I don't see any difference between Nev Campbell getting paid for this. So if it is a lowball situation, well, you're fucking silly on the producer's part.
Yeah. But if it was a situation...
I feel like it just didn't have anything left in it.
Yeah, if it was more a situation where someone's come and said, all right, we're going to kill the character off. Again, I support her decision in that one.
Agreed. I don't think you should kill her.
You've hit a point where it was like, that would only be for the sake of a
twist or a
cheap
twist.
Thrill. But the sense I get was that it was a lowball offer. The wording. Basically, here's the wording. I've just looked it up. As a woman, I've had to work extremely hard in my career to establish my value, especially when it comes to Scream. I felt the offer that was presented to me did not equate to the value I've brought to the franchise.
Correct.
So, I mean,
no hard feelings from my end. I think that she deserves a hell of a lot more. If that's the gist of things, you fucking pony up the cash. You say, well, shit, this woman has carried this franchise for a while, and she deserves a payday, like a real payday, not a small slice. She needs a nice big chunk.
Yeah, and as you said, going by her value or what she would probably be asking in the industry, even that is not going to fucking... I mean, if the last movie made, a couple of $100 million and she asked for fucking 5 to 10...
She asked for 5. She'd be asking for somewhere in that sort of range.
Yeah.
And fucking not worth arguing about in my book. No worries.
It's at worst, it's a fucking pat on the back deal.
Yeah. It's kind of like a handshake for carrying it or being a big player in the franchise for so long.
Yeah.
It's your retirement fund.
So that's really where the only disappointment lies from me. If that's what happened, it fucking sucks, because it's just a reminder of this is what the industry is.
And I think from a horror perspective, and this is me talking, personally talking, but I think there'd be a lot of fans out there who would say that character is... I think we had this conversation about me, you and Brandon, about her being the final girl.
Yeah.
Or at least on par with Laurie Strode.
Yep.
And that's a big deal in the horror community.
Yeah, well, for people like us, it is. And as she said she's fucking extremely thankful to all the fans and whatever, but this is the situation, and I think just about everyone in this kind of community would say, good on you. Only best wishes.
See, the thing for me is, some people might say it's greedy, but this isn't greed.
No.
This isn't about greed. This is about, I got paid fuck all for most of the other pictures.
Yeah.
So this is the payday that I deserve after so long.
Yeah. This is the franchise player basically just saying, look,
I was on a 4-year deal for fuck all, and now suddenly I'm a free agent. You pricks can't give me some money.
I played a 4-year deal for $10 million a year. When everyone else is all the other All Stars are getting 30 to 40. I just want a 1 year 40.
She's on the Scottie Pippen deal, mate. She's on the Pippen deal.
That's right. I mean, Scotty had a reason he was never tipping Pippen because he was
no money. Honestly, these other fuck sticks are walking around with big bulging pockets, and they're giving him shit about not tipping.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I can't afford to.
He was making rookie money.
Basically that's how I see the situation.
Yeah, and disappointing. If that's what's happened,
and it's not like you really can't afford it.
No. It's not like you can't dig into the pocket and go, shit. Oh, all right, okay, our franchise star wants $5 million.
Yeah.
No worries.
It's the Lakers saying, sorry, LeBron, we can't afford that.
Yeah, that's right.
Can't do that.
So very disappointing if that's the case, but I just feel like Sydney's storyline was played out and played out well.
That's the positive to it. If that's
I
where
didn't
it
want to
ends,
see her die.
Yeah.
I like the way she went out. She went out tough and shit like she always does.
Yep.
She was dialed back in the film, like they didn't give her a lot of time on screen, but what they did give her was worthy.
Yeah. And if that's where it ends, I'm happy with it.
Yeah. All right. Let's take a break, Jared. And here's the trailer to 1984's Trancers.
I'm Jack Death. I'm a trooper in the 23rd century.
Jack Death, Angel City PD. May I see your stats?
What did I do?
Under Section 7 of the Penal Code, the Council authorized me to administer you a transfer suspect examination.
You can't give me a TSE without a warrant.
I got your warrant right here now.
Okay. I don't want any trouble.
Hold that.
My job is hunting Trancers.
I got nothing to hide.
Finding them.
Negative.
And singeing them.
Look out!
Of course, sometimes they find me first. Then it's a little more complicated. How do you know Whistler's location?
We monitored a line disruption in Los Angeles, December 1985. Van Zandt, Ash, and I all had ancestors in the city then.
If you think I'm bringing that scum up the line, you got the wrong trooper.
Unless you stop Whistler, everything the Council has accomplished for the last 40 years will count for nothing.
Okay, let's say I believe this. You're a cop from the future and you're chasing this guy Piper.
Whistler.
Why doesn't he just turn you into one of these zombies? Or me?
Trancing only works on squids, people with weak minds, easily controlled. Lena, I'm from another time, another world. I don't even know what you people eat for lunch.
Okay, I got fried rice, egg rolls, and beef chow mein.
Beef? You mean like from a cow? I thought it was rough in the 23rd century. I didn't know how hot it could get.
Jack?
How's my tan? It was getting hotter all the time.
Jack?
I guess I just attract a certain element no matter what century I'm in.
This way, mister!
Anyway, I gotta run now.
I want to ride with the ladies.
Over here, Ashby!
Never even been here before. Trancers.
Trancers, 1984. Directed and produced by Charles Band, who also directed Evil Bong 888. I hope that's on fucking Tubi.
Yeah, well, they are. I think all of them.
Is there 888 of them? If there is, I've got a lot of work to do. It's written by Danny Bilson, who wrote The Five Bloods, and Paul DeMeo, who wrote The Rocketeer. It stars Tim Thomerson as Jack Death, Helen Hunt as Lena, and Art LaFleur as McNulty. Budget was $400K. Box office, I couldn't find anything about box office. I'm not really sure if it would have been a direct-to-video type of thing.
Yeah.
The motorcycle scene marked the first time Helen Hunt had operated a motorcycle. Classic Full Moon.
Yeah.
You don't know how to ride it? Don't just
they probably would have put her on it.
Definitely her. You can see from the front. It's definitely her. It's not fucking a stunt rider.
Shit.
All right, Jared, thoughts? Trancers. Being a connoisseur of fine full moon features.
I don't know about a connoisseur, but yes, I do enjoy a full moon feature. Look, Trancers is all that you watch full moon features for. It's unapologetically fucking derivative of other films. It's cheap as chips, but fucking tries its best to squeeze every dollar out of it. Some of the full moon features aren't as successful with that. This one is quite successful at not really showing how cheap it actually is.
Yeah.
And the reason I like to go to them is it's just, you can see that the people behind them are really just wanting to make a fucking entertaining popcorn flick. That's always what it's about. Whether it's a scary movie, whether it's like this one that's a bit of sci-fi action kind of stuff. All they're doing is trying to make you, or at the time, we're trying to make you fucking pick that thing up off the shelf, have a good time with it, and go, fuck, I'll watch another full moon feature. And they got me right there.
They grabbed you by the cods.
But I reckon this one's the best one that I've seen of the full moon features. There's other ones that don't have as good ideas or effects as this one manages to squeeze out.
Mm.
And obviously this one's got a pretty reasonable cast as well. Really, I had a really good time with it. 3.5.
Snake Eyes. Bingo, because I'm also Snake Eyesing it.
Yep.
I really like this. I was super surprised, Jared, because I was thinking to myself, I remember hearing about this back in the Fangoria days and all that sort of stuff, and hearing about Full Moon and thinking these guys were just cheap peddlers of bullshit. Yep. And then every time you mentioned you'd watch some fucking crap on Tubi, I was like, oh, yeah, I know, Full Moon features.
Yeah, you dickhead.
Yeah. But this, yes, it's derivatives of the Terminator. It's got Terminator kind of leanings.
Yep. Blade Runner, yeah.
But it looks pretty damn good for a movie made for $400K. It actually has some really interesting and cool ideas that I think they incorporate quite well.
Yep.
It's got a good cast.
Yep.
And I'm going to say this. I think the pairing of Thomason and Hunt is really, really good.
Yeah, it is.
There's a real chemistry between them that I think is fantastic. He's the gruff fucking ball bag, and she's the young sort of, sidekick who kind of helps him out. And I think that a lot of it works out really, really well.
Yeah. I don't think it's a surprise that the guys that kind of put this one together ended up going on to some bigger and better films.
Yeah. Except for Charlie Band.
Well,
but then again,
Charlie's always on bigger and better things. Head of the family. Bigger, better.
Oh, man. I was looking for a budget on Trancers too to see if they got a little bit of a bump.
No, fuck no. I mean, it's
probably half as much.
It's still Charlie Band.
Charlie was like, fuck, $400K. We get this done for $200K.
Yeah, I think at the time he might have been encountering some financial difficulties, kind of later 90s. So by the time Trancers 4 and 5 rolled around, the budget was probably $40,000.
$50,000. But straight into the likes, mate. The idea, while similar to the Terminator in its sort of basic premise of going back from the future to the past to hunt down a killer, he's got to protect some people as well. That's Terminator. That's Terminator by the numbers. But I actually really like the little wrinkle about how you had to go back into the body of
a
relative.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool and makes for a very amusing sequence involving McNulty turning up as a fucking child. Which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah. I mean, it's as fucking high concept as Full Moon Features have got.
And I really like the idea of the villain coming back as a cop.
Yeah.
So he then had carte blanche
Yes.
to do whatever he wanted.
Excellent idea.
And that was a really cool idea. Made Jack Death's mission even harder.
Yep. It's one of the things where that idea with a big budget.
Oh yeah.
I mean, fucking excellent. Because here, like that particular idea is the one that you can't get as well fleshed out because you only ever see him with about 3 cops around him because obviously you got to pay extras.
Yeah, correct.
Whereas if you had a massive budget, that's where you have the fucking high, the large scale chases with the cops on your hammer and all that sort of shit. So yeah, it's a fucking fantastic idea for a small budget picture.
And no disrespect to the Terminator because the Terminator is a fucking genuine classic. But they talk about guerrilla filmmaking. But that shit's budgeted $6 million. I mean, fucking what's this? Fucking Capuchin Monkey film? Is that what this is? He goes, holy shit.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
If Charlie Man had $6 million, the bloke would know what to fucking do with himself.
He's made fucking 60.
That's right.
He'd make 60 films if he had $6 million.
Yeah, we'd be up to Trancers fucking 15 by now on that budget.
but you know, Terminator is somewhat guerrilla filmmaking if you listen to the making of, but this is just because this would have been all shot in the streets and shit on the side with no permits whatsoever.
I mean, as I said previously, it's kind of, we spoke about James Cameron's kind of guerrilla filmmaking is I didn't have a permit. Charlie Band's is I fucking crashed the car and left it there.
I crashed the car, heard an extra, and then fucked off.
Left it there, and
the cops could turn up.
And then got bailed up on fucking charges later on for all these vehicles I destroyed.
I was still paying fucking registration on cars that I blew up. Good on you, Charlie. Great work.
See, that is true guerrilla, as you said, Capuchin Monkey filmmaking. I don't even think it's the monkey. I think it's the fucking pile of dung it left behind.
Yeah, it's Capuchin Monkey shit filmmaking. No, that was Trancers 5 and 6. I think that.
Yeah.
Look, Tim Thomerson.
Gold.
Great. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know what his resume's like.
I think he was a comedian at some point.
Was he?
Or something like that.
He's a guy who's always toiled in low-budget stuff.
Yeah.
But as far as the performance is concerned, he finds the right gruff kind of tough-talking cop.
Yeah,
that
I
you
compared
need.
him to a little bit of Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
Like he's just a gruff ball bag who's kind of amusing at times, and you get a few laughs out of him. And but he's definitely got he's got a quality where he's the perfect man for these kind of, you don't have the cash to pay big dollar, but you get a guy like him. Well, he's going to do the job for you.
Exactly, and the whole thing of him going back to the 80s and then being kind of resurrected in the body of an ancestor who just happens to be sleeping with Helen Hunt. Paul was fucking punching above his weight for sure.
Paul? Phil?
Sorry, not Paul.
Yeah.
Phil was punching above his weight.
Yes.
But
out of his age.
Out of his age bracket.
Fucking 15-year difference, or 15 to 20, I think.
But he was Tim Thomerson, so fucking.
Correct. That's right.
That's
I mean, if Tommy Atkins can get it over.
Tommy Atkins. Thomerson can definitely get it done. But that relationship, and I said it at the start, is fucking excellent.
Yeah,
and there is no doubt about it that you can tell that Helen Hunt was going to be a good performer.
I think
she's
really reasonably good, but the character's pretty good too. Like, it's probably not going to pass the Bechdel test because she's always talking about Jack. But the character itself, she's got a bit of fucking go about her. She's not just there to be kind of the damsel in distress. I mean, obviously at the end she gets kind of stuck in that situation very briefly, but for the rest of the picture, she's right in it.
Well, especially back in 1984, where that shit would have been de jour, mate.
Yeah.
Fucking the woman is just there to be saved.
Yeah, she's not a fool. She's up for the challenge. She says, "I want to come along."
Yeah,
He
yeah.
says, "All right." Like that sort of stuff is pretty solid. And when it gets down to it, I felt the romantic angle was good. It's not one of those movies where I watched and thought, this just fucking stuffed in because that's what you expect.
Yeah.
I mean, it was by the numbers, but when I saw the chemistry,
I think where
good.
I think they did a good thing was she was an alternative. She was into alternative music and hair colours and all that shit. So
yeah, but she also,
Tim Thomas was just an alternative.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're an alternative. Last night, I mean, after what I consumed, you look 20 years younger.
Shit, yeah. I had a hard knot in the piss of the fucking punk bar. I came home and fell into bed with you.
Shit.
Holy shit.
But she's
Talk
actually...
about it, she wanted to chew her fucking arm off.
But she actually looks like she makes reasonably fucking sound decisions. Like when he's fucking following her, she's going, "Did I leave you my number?" No, oh, thank Christ. Like, you know, she's making smart kind of. And when he chases her down after the whole Santa Claus situation, she doesn't want a fucking bar of it.
Yeah.
She tries to kind of coax him along and then piss off.
Yeah.
Until it becomes clear that, oh shit, this is legit.
Yeah,
you know?
that's right. And so I think the two of them together is really, really solid. It really works.
Yep.
And this is another thing that elevates this movie. You kind of get lucky in your casting when you're working with 400K.
But you knew that. I mean, your full moon feature is the market quality. You knew that was coming.
I knew that was coming. Yeah, of course I did.
You knew when 400K that you would get the likes of Dole Mann and Helen Hunt together and it would be a fucking...
Oh, shit.
Sparks would fly.
Sparks would fly. But in a way, you kind of... When the full moon feature, you're picking up people who either grizzled old vets or... Well, fucking Thomason is more grizzled than most.
Look, you're scouring the fucking minimum... The veterans minimum market.
Yeah, correct. But you're also getting young up-and-comers, and if you're lucky, you get one that works.
You get an undrafted free agent who turns into a fucking all-star.
Who can hit the three and drive to the lane. And play a bit of D.
Yeah.
So, ultimately, that's what you get here. You get a grizzled vet like Thomason, and this kind of puts him in his element. Then you get a young up-and-comer like Helen Hunt,
I mean,
and then put the two of them together.
You're not going to run a fucking full-court trapping defence because you've only got one or two people who can do it.
You are running a boxing one.
Yeah, that's
definitely boxing one.
That's right. So,
definite boxing one with this lot.
You know,
but
when you get to the offensive end, you're feeding Helen Hunt all of your shots.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Down in the post, fucking...
Yeah.
It really works well, I think.
Even Whistler, even the guy that played Whistler is pretty solid.
Yeah.
And... I can't remember his name. I think the actor's Art LaFleur.
Yeah,
what was his name? McNulty. He's pretty good.
That stuff was solid, yeah.
So they fill out all the parts quite well. And Charlie Band's philosophy of, he always says you pay the fucking cinematographer because they'll make your piece of shit film look like $1 million, even if you only got 400Ks. So, and I think when I watched this one, I don't think that was ever truer of a full moon feature.
Correct.
This one looked really
I don't
good.
know who the cinematographer was. But,
neither do I. But for 400K...
I think it was someone of note.
Yeah.
Look it up.
Okay,
while we're doing
I'll get on that.
But I thought his philosophy was I crash car and then continue to pay the fucking registration for 10 years.
I thought his philosophy was I'm hungry, need money for the past few years.
Yeah, no, that was in the fucking prime. His prime of his career was I'm hungry, need money.
No, well, I think he did say, like, he would make a profit, but he'd still be paying the debts from the previous film, then he fucking rolled that over to the new film.
So what
he did that for
hang on, sorry, he's running a Ponzi scheme.
Pretty much. If you say the budget from the last film, the budget from the new film would be covering the fucking whatever was left from the last film.
And let me tell you something, Charlie Mann was
400K, you're not covering much of the fucking budget.
His fucking credit cards were maxed out.
Yeah.
he was using his credit cards to buy shit.
Yeah.
The future stuff actually is pretty good. I like the fact that all they do is kind of, like any good low-budget film, the diner, the car, the gun, they all look like normal current vehicles, but they've just been jazzed up enough to give it a futuristic look.
Yep.
And that's what you do when you're making cheap filmmaking.
Yep. Okay, so the cinematographer is Mac Alberg.
Oh, yeah, and he is well known. What do we got?
Look, he's done a lot of full moon features. I'll give you that, especially in recent years. But he did the fucking Brady Bunch movies, which were reasonable budget, I think. Beverly Hills Cop 3, Striking Distance. So he's got a few on there. He's one of these guys that seems to be. He did Arena, classic. He's one of these guys that seems to have possibly started in Full Moon, and then done
segued into something better.
Come back to Full Moon, which a lot of people have done, which speaks to, I guess, Charlie Band's fucking ability to make a fucking fun little set for 400K.
Of course,
he did. He did do Reanimated too, I believe.
Okay, so yeah, he's taken his lumps in low budget cinema.
DOP on Hell Night.
Okay, well there you go. I'm a fan of Hell Night and its look and atmosphere. I could not help but laugh at fucking Jack shooting a mall Santa Claus in front of children.
Oh, I think my note says the high concept is never higher than fucking Jack belting up at
Santa Claus and shooting it in front of the little children who then says something about, is Santa Claus going to be okay?
Yeah.
No, he's not. He's dead.
Good stuff. I really enjoyed that. I can't believe you've gone past the fact that our fucking main character is called Jack Death.
Oh, Death. D-E-T-H too.
I mean, I heard it, I laughed my ass off, and then I said, no, I'm in. I love it.
Yeah, I love it.
I'm all there. So, yeah.
And I dug his kind of hard-boiled kind of bullshit.
Yes.
When he turns up at the diner and basically just fucking accosts that bloke about it.
Yeah. Essentially, he's the same character in Doll Man.
Is he?
Then when he comes to Earth, he's fucking, 12 inches tall. It's the
high concept pitch there from Full Moon?
Lower concept, but still pretty high concept.
Oh, for them, yeah.
So unfortunately, they couldn't make
for
the budget
them,
work.
That's
as well
their
for
fucking tenet.
Rather than using good special effects, they just shot, the camera looking down at Tim Thomason to make him look 12 inches tall.
Holy shit. Now, this sequence for me, the best idea of the film was the idea of the slow motion watch, which I thought was fantastic.
Yeah.
And worked perfectly.
Especially the one use.
Yeah, one use that has to be retapped.
Recharged, yeah.
And they use it midway through the film.
Yep.
And then to bring it back at the end.
Yes.
I have a slight dislike to it.
Yep.
But I think the way it worked and the way it helps you to get out of trouble.
Yes.
It was cool.
And given it was, it was before the Matrix and that sort of stuff, obviously didn't have the budget to do things like bullet time. Our budget says we're going to shoot in slow-mo and you're going to stand still while Tim walks around you or runs around you. But it looked pretty good.
Yeah, it all worked. It was a really cool idea that was pretty well delivered.
Although the 10 seconds goes for about a fucking
90 seconds, I believe someone said.
Yeah, it's
timed. It goes for 90 seconds.
Well, it looks like, and I think it comes from, you press this watch and 1 second gives you 10 seconds while everyone else is still. But then they do it in slow-mo to kind of accentuate the effect.
Yeah.
So it still seems to work based on what they're saying in the movie, but then by shooting it in slow-mo, they kind of drag it on.
Yeah. So it is longer than it should be.
Which does work pretty well when you're watching it.
Yeah. I think that's the most ingenious idea brought to the table that I haven't seen elsewhere.
Other than the crook going back into the body.
Yeah, into the body of the police chief. That was cool.
Yeah.
I like the fact that Jack kicks the shit out of a few punks. We just sort of get a sense of his fucking, he's a bit of a tough guy and he can handle himself because you haven't really got that.
Style. Doesn't get a hand laid on him.
I know, I love it. Really wails on him too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd have fucking hit someone after I heard that band playing though.
Oh, fuck me.
Talk about fucking noise pollution. God.
That was also just after, I did appreciate it, even though it was an obvious gag, obviously his name being Jack Death and he's watching Peter Gunn.
Oh, yeah.
What sort of fucking name is Peter Gunn?
Yeah.
That was good. That was good too.
As I said before, McNulty appearing in the 80s as a small girl, which I thought was piss funny about how she just turns up and starts going fucking giving him some shit about what he should be doing, and then he just picks her up and carries her outside.
The highest of high concepts.
Yeah, great stuff.
Yeah, fuck, I can't get over the club. Holy shit, I felt like Jack when that came on. I was thinking, get me out of here.
Reminds me of that club in RoboCop. where he goes to collect,
Yeah.
where we see Paul Verhoeven fucking dancing like an idiot. He put himself in that sequence.
Yeah. Better than Bob Shea putting himself in there.
It's a leather bar.
Yeah.
You're Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
Yep.
God, well played, Bob. I also love that McNulty keeps mucking around with death. So he brings him back from the future, from the past back to the future, just as he's about to get into the sack with Helen Hunt.
Yeah.
And then he sends him back just after it's finished. And he's there going, fuck, I hope you had fun this time again, Phil. I thought that shit was piss funny.
That was quite funny. Yeah, I did like that. I also, the chase sequence on the bikes.
Yeah, good one.
Yeah, because
it's no Mad Max where you don't bother to close off the roads and try and
that's
kill
right.
everybody.
No Mad Max Fury Road. There's no Terminator 2 where you're
No.
crashing through bloody overpasses and things. But again, keeping budget in mind, it was kind of fun.
Yes.
As you said, seeing Tim Thomason fucking go downstairs and shit. I mean, you're scaling that shit right
I
back.
know,
But
but
it's
it
fun.
works, yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's a bit of excitement.
And
a
as
bit
you
of fun.
said, it's definitely Thomason.
Oh,
They have
absolutely.
not got money for a fucking stunt double.
That's right. That's
He is
right.
being told, do not crash that bike.
Yeah.
or
Don't
we
crash
are-
the bike because we didn't. We just borrowed it.
Yeah. I'll continue to pay the reg over the next 10 years, but hey, you crash that bike, we have to cut the entire scene.
I'm trying to squeeze 2 pictures out of this
Yeah,
bike,
yeah.
so we'll see what we can do.
And yeah, I like that. And they do him going down the stairs and then her crashing through the window.
Yes.
It's all done pretty well,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
It's low-tier action,
Yep.
but it kind of works.
Definitely.
I really like when she saves him from the cops when they're chasing him. She shoots the cop in the back.
Yep.
And she finds the watch.
Yep.
A nice way
as I said-
again to show that she's capable.
She's not just there to be fucking dragged around by Thomason and saved. And
Yeah.
I like that she was up for the.
It wasn't. See, that's why the romance angle works, Jared. The romance angle works because Tim Thomason's a fucking stallion.
Yeah, of course.
Who, let's face it, women swoon.
Of course.
But the reason why it works is because she is not there wholly and solely to be a romantic foil.
Yes.
She is there for other purposes and to be his right hand and help him and stuff.
And to kind of,
Get him out of a
facilitate-
jam and get involved in the action.
Yeah, facilitate some of the fish out of water stuff for him.
And some of it...
But, I mean, when other women see Thomason with the greying, long, wet hair
Greased
look,
back hair look. But I do like it when she goes, what are you doing? He's greasing his hair back. And she's like...
dry hairs to squids.
Yeah, she fucking looks at him with contempt. Why are you doing this?
Which is probably her only real moment of clarity for the movie.
I believe similar people looked at me with contempt when I dyed my hair fucking platinum blonde.
Peroxide.
Yeah.
Good.
Perfect.
Good stuff.
Good work.
I think I got more of the Tim Thomason kind of attention for that.
You didn't. Fucking hell. Tips is for squids, mate. I think is what you got told.
Yeah. No, I think I was saying, plain hairs for fucking squids. And everyone was looking at me going,
looking like
really?
fucking Chris Kirkpatrick from the NSYNC. It's not for squids.
Settle down, Chip.
So I think that the romance thing actually kind of works too because he's sort of this protector type, or he is this type of guy that she is actually attracted to because he is kind of a tough guy and all that sort of shit.
Yeah, but there's also an element of, well, I don't really fucking need that. But
yeah,
I like you.
Yeah. I like Jack.
Yeah.
I like a guy who greases back his fucking grey locks.
Yeah. I also like a guy who tells me I've been in LA for 10 years and then, I was pissing myself when he's there going, can you tell me where this Kalinga...
Yeah, she's like,
Kalinga.
It's fucking
10 minutes down the road.
10 minutes down the road. Yeah, and also, just quietly, Timmy Thomason is cranking some fucking greying chest hair as well. He should keep his shirt on.
Yeah. I thought he had an extra blanket on. a woolen knit.
Yeah, it was cold. LA was cold this time of year, and Tim brought his own fucking little blanket to set. Okay, so they used a slow-mo again at the end, which I think works well.
Yeah.
This is probably the only time she's there to be she gets saved.
Yeah.
And it works really well to bring it. I love the fact as I said, they used it early on, so we know what it could do. Then we bring it back.
Yes.
You know, classic plot device, but
and you knew where it was going.
Exactly.
Charlie Band wasn't fucking blowing your mind with that angle there.
Jared, this is the thing. I thought I would be fucking trudging through this thing for 76 minutes and I would be fucking cursing you forever. I'm dead serious, but then consider my mind blown.
Yeah, consider mind blown and you thinking, maybe I should watch Head of the Family next.
Yeah. Well, Hideous. Hideous is the one I want to watch. I believe the front cover is one of the most fucking rubbery looking things ever produced. Oh, definitely want to have a look
looks
at that.
rubbery on film too.
Oh, excellent. And the last one for me, apart from 76 minutes being the fucking perfect time for any sort of movie, Charlie Band knows that he knows less is more.
Yeah, Charlie Band knows I've got fucking errands to run.
I've only just got enough footage for 70 minutes. That's a feature.
Yeah. I think he could only afford a certain amount of film.
Exactly.
If we have anything that goes to the cutting room floor, I'm not replacing that shit. I can't.
Should I cut some of it? Don't cut anything. That's basically what he tells the
You
enemy.
cut anything, I'll fucking cut you.
I'll cut your balls off. I really like the broken file in the gun, which means only one of them can go back.
Yes.
And Death decides to send Whistler back.
Yeah.
But it means part 2. Bring on part 2.
Well, that's what I said, you know. The great thing about a full moon feature is if it's reasonably successful, we're going to get fucking 6 sequels to watch.
Exactly. Is there a Hideous 2, 3 and 4?
No. Mustn't have been all that
Must have been a success. Right. That was my last line. So,
yep.
Happy? Got anything else?
Yeah, I think... Well... I do want to mention the music briefly because some of it was all right.
Yeah.
There was a few where it was overly cheesy.
Terminator vibe.
Yeah, a few where it was overly cheesy and things like that. But in the opening especially, it had that Terminator kind of quality.
Mm.
Again, derivative heavy on the synths. Especially the opening one sounded very much like Terminator, but pretty solid.
Do we assume that Terminator had been out by this time?
Well, it was the same year, and Band could turn around a picture very quickly, so...
He saw Terminator in theatres.
I think
a week later, this film was in the can.
He walked past the set one night and thought, what's this?
He ran into fucking Cameron and Schwarzenegger punching fucking windows in with no permits and said, I do that shit all the time. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll sort that out. I'll fucking punch the house of my own window out to get this thing out.
Exactly, yeah.
So, yeah, it just, look, I would assume that it was. I haven't checked on it, but I would assume that it was because that was the beginnings of that model, right?
Correct. All right. Dislikes.
Not many.
No, not many.
Definitely not
Looks
Tim
cheap.
Thomason.
Looks cheap.
Definitely not Tim Thomason.
No, definitely not Thomason. Looks real cheap. There's some cheap sets and some cheap props and shit.
Yeah, and the fact that you can't squeeze more than about 4 or 5 people in the movie at one time because there's parts of it. Well, for the most part, I would say it doesn't look that cheap, but there are things that you see where you're you can't.
The cheapness is defined by a couple of sequences, typically, and the couple of the shootouts and shit. There's a fight at the start in the diner that is just really poor.
Well, the diner on the outside looked pretty solid.
Yeah.
But then the inside, does look a little cheap. Especially when the lady gets shot.
Yeah, they have a punch-up and the camera doesn't even move. Jesus Christ. There is barely a cut in some of that stuff. They're rolling around on the table like a pair of idiots.
You're right, yes.
And then Thomason shoots her and she... We do get some backstory on the Trancers themselves during that period, which I liked.
Yep.
We kind of fill in some of the gaps. But ultimately, that fight sequence itself is really poorly choreographed.
Mm.
And some of the props in that diner showcase just how cheap it is.
Yes. Yeah, there's definitely elements of that. It's funny because there's other parts where they've masked it really well.
Yeah.
But there's only so much you can mask it when the budget is. I mean, because $400K is, for a movie like this, it's fucking minuscule.
Oh, minuscule doesn't describe it. I mean, holy shit. What are you paying your actors? How much? This is where you're paying them in craft services and booze.
Well, I think Helen Hunt came back for at least part 3, possibly part 2, just because of relationships. And
yeah.
I mean, if they had to pay her what she was becoming worth, they wouldn't have had her.
Oh, no, she's definitely in 2. She's definitely in 3.
And she's
only in 3 briefly.
But what I'm saying is she wouldn't have been in those if it wasn't for the relationships they built.
Charlie Band.
Her and Tim Thomason, I believe, are still pretty good friends.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's as I said, I do laugh at that, but people do seem to come back for this guy.
Yes. And another rap for the relationship. The way it plays on screen between those two. If they're still friends today, it means it worked then. That's the reason why it works.
Yep.
Because they got along really well. And it shows on screen.
Yep.
The punk band in the club, holy shit.
Jesus, that singer should have been fucking drug out.
I was this close to taking the guitar and jamming it in his fucking ass. Honestly.
Yeah. Well, I got
he was butchering a fucking Christmas carol or something as well.
I mean, I got the whole punk thing, but even fucking... You listen to some punk music, the singer's still in tune occasionally. Jesus, this
bloke was a fucking disaster.
Yeah, not good.
Not good at all. Fucking terrible. They're the best.
I mean, that's the fucking house band at Club Hell.
Yeah, definitely.
If it actually is hell.
It's a mixture between those guys and the dudes who are playing the frat house at fucking House and Sorority Row.
But they were in tune. I mean, that bloke could hold a note.
Oh, could he? Shit.
Yeah.
All right. My biggest dislike for me personally is they use the slow-mo.
Yep.
But both times they kind of use it to save her.
Yes.
Whereas I feel they should have used it in the first instance for something less important, just to show us what it could do, which was the point of that sequence.
Well, I reckon,
But then bring it back to save her when she falls off the roof.
Yeah. This is where you look back and you say, should you have done the one use thing, or should you have said you got 3? You got 3 in the chamber. Basically, you can use this thing 3 times or 2 times.
Okay.
And in the movie, that gives him the free rein to say, "Well, fuck, I can waste one because I've got to do."
So he does something stupid.
With it.
Humorous.
Humorous
thing.
And then when he gets down to 1, well, you do only have the one shot at this.
Yes.
So
no do-overs. It should have been no do-overs. You don't get any more than what's there.
So it felt like the one in the middle, well, that's the same thing as the one at the end.
Yeah.
It's the same purpose all over again.
Yeah. And a little bit anticlimactic. You don't see it as being shit. This is a one-shot deal. If he fucks this up,
and also,
he can't fix it.
Also, both times, I felt like the last time it should have been something like the vial. You got a choice.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit of a dislike to me. It was such a good idea. I just felt like there had to be... The whole time I was thinking this one use is going to come down to, is it this or this? What do you do?
And it's a really good idea, probably not quite fleshed out enough.
Not quite squeezing the best out of the idea.
No.
Which is kind of, it's sort of exciting.
Well, fuck, mate.
Now that we've got 5 more films to watch,
I want to see where it goes.
I want to see how they managed to use that. But I think I think you're correct. It was kind of a high and a low. It was a really good idea. Just didn't quite feel like they used it to the effect that they possibly could have.
Yeah. Which is disappointing because to me it's one of those ideas that, as I said before, it wasn't in something like Terminator.
Yeah.
It wasn't in other sci-fi films of this period.
Yep.
So it was a surprise idea. You'd think, Charlie Band stripped over a fucking good idea. But you know what I mean? Like, it's in the hands of someone who unfortunately doesn't have the cash to probably do...
Well, he probably did have the cash, but as you said, he had 16 other films to make for that cash.
And the last bit for me... The final showdown is kind of a little anticlimactic. It's kind of over really quickly.
It's a little cheesy too. Like the old pitcher throwing the bottles.
Yeah.
I was okay with that. But the cheesy element comes in. I mean, it's fine in the scheme of things, the idea. I was kind of expecting it, which is what full moon features are. You kind of see where they're going.
Yeah.
And I was okay with that. I'm like, yeah, the pitcher's going to do something. And so here it is. He's doing something. My issue was with when the stunt guy, when the actor who was doing it, because the stunt guy wasn't paid enough to turn up,
Yes.
pretends to he gets hit with the first bottle and then is clearly just nowhere near the edge, but then kind of falls over and then leans over the edge and kind of climbs himself over it and then gets hit again. And we've got some shocking fucking sound work where he just kind of goes, on the way down. I was just like, oh man. I mean, even with the budget, we could do better than that. Can't we just say, record that again?
Yeah. You can find $10 or whatever to get that done again.
Yeah.
But look,
a little bit cheesy.
Overall, Jared, I didn't have anything else.
I had a couple. The first time you see Whistler, when he comes through the kind of Obi-Wan kind of message.
Was it just me or did he look like fucking Dr. Evil?
The costume looks like dinner theatre.
Well, yeah, he just knocked off Dracula's that night.
He just knocked off. They said, just wear what you're wearing. He seems to have a fucking pirate scarf around his waist.
Does he?
Well, I don't know. Maybe I
he was doing a fucking he was doing a local theatre production of bloody Aladdin or something.
They just said, yeah, we'll use that. We'll find a way to use that. And
so you're already dressed? Beautiful.
Yeah.
We don't need to get you in a costume.
Yeah. Might have disliked, but in the Santa Claus fight, Whistler seems to talk to death through the Santa, but the Santa's, like, his mouth doesn't move or anything.
Is that a mind thing?
It's fucking shocking. It looks terrible. Whereas later on, they have the cop just talking to him as if it's like a kind of hive mind situation that he's talking. That worked far better.
Yes.
Why didn't you just have Santa keeling over and then fucking rolling over and saying, I'm going to fucking get you or whatever?
Yeah.
It would have worked way better to do it like that, I think.
Mistake from Charles.
Mistake. Big mistake.
What else you got?
Okay. Now, you suggested otherwise, but is it too short?
Yeah, it is. It is too short.
76?
I love 76 minutes, so
I mean, a full moon feature.
No, hang on.
It's never long enough to be more than about 2 to 3 minutes.
No, it's 73.
So it's about 73 minutes.
Yeah, the thing is,
could have been an 80 quite comfortably.
You know what? If Charlie Band had been able to rustle up 800K or $1 million, this could have been a real fucking ripper.
Give me another fish out of water scene. Give me another fucking Demolition Man
doing
type,
something stupid, and
him taking it to a restaurant as fucking Taco Bell or something like that. You know, like
with more money, this could have been fleshed out. The problem is with Charlie Band is you weren't fleshing this out.
Well,
what you were doing is going, I've got $1 million, I can make 2 movies.
That was the last of my dislikes, but I do have a question for you because I feel after watching it, this fits squarely on my list of films that someone with a bit of cash should fucking remake.
Yes, definitely.
And don't change much because the idea of the crook going back to the police chief is fucking good.
Yeah.
Just
stick with the basic structure and everything. Beef the budget up, beef the action up, and maybe dig in a little bit more into the fish out of water stuff.
Yeah.
And the idea of the
long second.
The long second and stuff. Bring all that in.
Yeah.
Do it better. This has got plenty of potential. Even if this was budgeted at like $10 million.
Yeah.
So I think from a remake perspective, this is ripe for that kind of thing.
Only problem is Charlie Band will do it himself. And he's making movies for less money than he ever has.
Charlie, hand it over.
Yeah.
It's just one of those...
I think Tarantino loves this one. He loves everything, but I think he's got it.
Yeah, but he's only got a small number of movies he's going to make a 10. But he can executive produce.
He can fucking throw some cash to somebody. Say, give it, $3 million and say, do it again. But you know what I mean? Like someone with a bit of play.
A guy like Tarantino could do something with the script.
Someone like Tarantino goes to a studio and says, I want 20 mil to make this. They fucking fall over themselves to give it to him.
Yeah, of course they do.
And then Charlie Band walks in the door and they go, fuck.
you fucking screwed us, Tarantino. You knew all along. No, but a guy like Tarantino could do something with this script. He could beef it up. He could give it that sort of material that you're after.
Because all I feel like it needs, like the idea is really good. Squeeze a bit more out of the fish out of water. It's lacking. We kept going back to the Terminator because of the obvious comparisons. It's lacking the really fucking iconic lines.
Yeah.
And the dialogue of that. We get close with, dry hairs for squids, but I mean, Jesus, it's not quite.
I'll be back. No. Terminator is the reason why Terminator is what it is because it's a really tightly written script. It's a really well written script.
Yeah.
And $6 million in 1984 was not much.
Wasn't much, but it was more than $400K.
Actually, $6 million probably wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
Because remember, something like Die Hard was made for like 15, and that was in 1988.
Yeah.
So $6 million is still pretty decent.
Pretty good.
So I see the comparisons, and I think Trancers could do with a modern updating. That's my personal opinion. Charlie Band, steer clear of it.
I mean, I'd be okay.
Thank you very much.
I'd be okay with them going the same route with being derivative. I mean, you're never going to make this movie and have people not say, gee, that's a bit like the Terminator and that sort of stuff. But your winning idea for me is the villain to the police chief angle.
There's a couple of winning ideas in amongst it.
That are already there. They're already sound enough. You just run with it.
Correct. Definitely.
That's what I feel like.
Definitely. I would totally support a remake of this.
But this particular one, it's, as I said, it's why I keep going back to the Full Moon Feasts, because even when they're a bit silly and a bit stupid or whatever, it's just, you can tell just by watching them, it's a bunch of people that...
There's passion. There's passion and effort.
There is. There's a bunch of people that like making pictures. Charlie Band gave people opportunities.
Yes.
If they hadn't had a crack and someone said, I want to direct a movie, and he thought they fucking could, he'd give them a go.
Exactly.
And sometimes that works a treat. Other times not so much, but you can tell by watching the Full Moon Features that people love making the movies. They're having a bit of fun. They're trying to make entertaining movies. Sometimes they fucking they do the job.
And in this case, they hit this well.
Yeah.
Like, people might argue 3.5, but I was entertained the whole way. At no point did I think to
all
myself,
76 minutes. I mean, if it went to 85, I might have started to get bored. Jesus Christ.
As I said, Jared, I was coming from a low place, though. I was coming from a place of this is going to be an absolute shit show. So, at the end of the day, I was super surprised.
It's good to know you have faith in me and my
I had no faith. Zero. None. I came from a really low bar, and then immediately within about 5 minutes, I was like, this is actually all right.
Yeah,
like,
good.
Can it hold? And it held. Fucking held.
Stop talking now.
Look at me. I'm beside myself.
You're kicking me.
I'm this close to going and watching Trancers 2.
Every compliment you give me a fucking underhanded.
Oh, it's backhanded. No, it's backhanded. Come on.
Yeah, no, I was pretty happy with this one, and I would say it's probably at the top of the Full Moon Features I've watched so far.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to be watching part 2.
So don't watch any more.
I'm going to be watching part 2 over the... Actually, I'm going to try and
check out 1.5 first.
I'll check out 1.5 and I'll check out part 2. Can't get 3.
Yeah, can't get 3. Well, it might be on YouTube.
Oh, fuck yeah.
But then we could go 4 to 6. They're on Tubi.
I can't wait. This long weekend is going to be a Trancers marathon.
And you know, once you go into the Full Moon Feasts, you'll get recommended subspecies 1, and then you'll go,
yeah, 2 and 3.
Before you know it, Radu will have you in his grasp for 4 films.
I can't wait for this weekend. It's going to be a fucking it's like swimming in a fucking pool full of shit. Basically, I cannot wait.
Yep.
All right, that is Trancers. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, and Podomatic. Send us an email at thrillme@iinet.net.au. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia and at Podomatic at thrillme.podomatic.com. Please rate and review us on all the platforms we're on. We're also on Instagram at thrillmepodcast.au. Now, Jared, just a little side note, The Quarry is out this week.
Yes.
I've got my pre-order in.
Yep.
My PlayStation is currently in rest mode
right.
and ready to download supposedly tomorrow, I believe.
Yeah. I believe it's on. It's coming very, very soon. I'll be too busy lounging lounging around on a holiday for 6 days before I get to jump into it. So you'll probably finish it 3 times.
I'll be fully through the fucking thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, next episode we will break down.
We might even do
an episode on its own.
A quick half hour or something.
Yeah, maybe.
What are we expecting in the special edition? What extras do you get?
Oh, the one I got was it just had a couple of little, I think, behind the scenes type of things or something like that, but it also had a heap of clothing packs and shit like that. The
so
80s
you can walk around in your
packs.
Speedos like Friday the 13th or something.
Oh, yeah. Well, look, I tell you what, I will be looking for the most garish outfit I can find, I can tell you
I
that.
want a Tim Thomason fucking get up.
Oh, yeah. He's wearing the fucking executive. He's wearing an executive coat.
I like it.
And I also do like the fact that she looks at him, why the fuck are you wearing that?
Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to that. I think it should be good. Good to have another horror release to jump into so soon after Evil Dead. I mean, it's
correct.
Good times.
But also, I mean, this concept has been so right. This idea that you actually make the decisions that move.
Yeah. Well, it's like Until Dawn, which we both really enjoyed.
Yeah.
But even more, it seems even more like a horror flick from the era that we fucking enjoy.
So I'm looking forward to it. As far as our next film's concerned, keep an eye on the Facebook page.
Trancers 2.
Trancers 2 through 6. But until then, take it easy, everyone, and we'll catch up with you later. Cheers. Find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia or contact us at thrillme, all one word, all lowercase, at iinet.net.au.